I've reported on all kinds of stories in our little town. Freak storms, election scandals, the time the hardware store burned down. But nothing like this. Nothing that made me feel like something inside my mind had cracked. The child's name was Evan Mercer. He was only 6 years old. He disappeared from Birch Hollow Park on a cloudy Thursday afternoon. His mother said she looked down at her phone for just 2 minutes, and when she looked back up, Evan was gone. There were no signs of a struggle. No strange vehicles were reported as witnessed in the area. There was just the sound of the soft crunch of leaves under the feet of the investigators. A swing whose chains were creaking in the wind, and a half-empty juice box left by the monkey bars. The police did the usual. There was a ground search and investigation and then Amber Alert, but they found nothing. After a few days, the story started to fade, as they usually do, but I couldn't just let it go. This case affected me on a personal level. Maybe it was the way my own daughter held my hand when I picked her up from school, or the look on her face when I would tuck her in at night. I had to do something. I went to the park myself last Saturday, not as a reporter, just as a dad. The place was deserted, and you could still see the patch of grass where the search team set up their tents. I wandered over to the Sandbox, where Evan had last been seen. I don't know what I expected, maybe some kind of clue the cops missed, but something was off. I could feel it. Something about the sand. It looked uneven. So I knelt down, started digging with my hands. About 6 inches in, my fingers hit something hard. It felt like metal. It turned out to be a hatch. The kind you see in old storm shelters. Round, iron, rusted around the edges, like it hadn't been opened in decades. It didn't belong there. I grabbed a crowbar from my car and pried it open, almost gagging with the sudden gust of stale air. It smelled rotten, like damp earth, something faintly sweet, like rotting fruit. There was a ladder bolted to the wall of a narrow tunnel. I know I should have called someone, but I didn't. I couldn't stop myself. I climbed down. When my feet hit bottom, I realized I was standing in what looked like a tunnel. Cement walls and almost complete darkness stretching out in both directions. I picked a direction, started walking. I didn't know exactly how far I went. I guessed it to be maybe around 50 feet. Then I saw a white wooden door with a little brass handle and a cartoon dinosaur sticker half peeled on the bottom right corner. I opened the door and entered. By the looks of it, it was a child's bedroom. The carpet on the floor was soft blue. There was a twin bed with a rocket ship comforter on it. There were shelves lined with books and stuffed animals, and also a plastic bin of toys in a corner. A nightlight was still glowing, even though there was no visible power source. There were some drawings on the wall, crayon scribbles, smiling stick figures, and a big green monster with long arms. A half-finished bowl of cereal sat on the desk, the milk just beginning to skim over, and the air was warm. The kind of warmth you only get at places both heated and lived in. I took out my phone and snapped pictures, but when I looked at the screen, the images were just distorted. There was only one door in that room, the one I came through. I searched every inch. I knocked on the walls and even looked under the bed behind the dresser. I found absolutely nothing. There was no sign of Evan. I found no trap door, just nothing. But as I turned to leave, I noticed something. The dinosaur sticker was gone. In its place was a different one, a balloon with an image of Evan's face on it. I ran out of that room, down the hall, and climbed the ladder in a cold sweat. When I reached the top, and after I climbed out, I turned around and the hatch was gone. It was replaced by smooth, unbroken sand, like it had never been there. I clawed at the dirt like a madman, screaming Evan's name, but I never found that hatch again. The police think I'm either sick or crazy, and then I faked the photos or hallucinated the room. I don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe this is just my brain trying to make sense of something too horrible to accept. That's what I began to convince myself of until yesterday. A new child went missing at the same park. And this time, someone saw it happen. They reported that they witnessed the hand of a small child reach out from the sandbox and pull the girl under the sand. But no one believed them either. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button and leave a comment letting me know what you thought, and subscribe for more spooky tales. And hey, if you're interested in checking out the original writer and story, you can find a link to the Reddit post in the description below. You can also leave your comments directly for the writer right there. Thanks again for watching, and have a very good evening.